I'm going to show you a tour pro trick that is going to give you such an advantage from 100 yards and in. There are, of course, so many shots when it comes to 100 odd yards and in on the golf course. But I want to give you something that makes it so simple to execute when it comes to distance control and what club to hit. Now, of course, there's lie to consider. There's rough, there's wind, there's elevation. These are things that we cannot control. But what we can control is how long we make our swings. And I'm going to show you a formula that if you just spend a little bit of time refining, you're going to have a massive advantage out on the golf course, no matter what situation you're in. Let's imagine a scenario. You're out on the golf course and you've got, let's say, 30 yards to go to a pitch shot. You're generally going to go, okay, it's that far. You're going to look at your target and you're going to try and feel the power, the speed. You're going to choose your go-to wedge to accomplish that. You're relying so much on speed and your execution of feel. That makes it difficult and that creates more variables, because even if I try and sort of hit a specific distance, it takes a while to get good at that. So if I'm like, okay, I've got 32 yards, in my head, I can be like, okay, that's going to be something like this. And well, it carried 28 and rolled 33. So not bad, but not perfect. But what I would prefer you to do is forget the distance that we're trying to hit initially. I want you to focus on one length of swing for this appropriate distance. And the first length of swing is no higher than our waist, okay? So our hands are not going to go any higher than waist height. It's a little bit more than a chip. It's the first sort of pitching level. It's not an exact science, it's just about my intention to try and get my hands to waist high and my hands to waist high. My only objective after that is to try and have a consistent cadence, a tempo. Because if I do a swing from here to here, waist high, but very slow, that's only going to go 15 yards. If I do the same swing but faster, like that, is going to go 48 yards. Neither of those are optimal for me. They felt rushed or too slow. So I'm going to try and find a cadence that I think I can repeat consistently. And how do I know I'm going to repeat it consistently? Is by doing it. I'm going to hit, 10 shots with my sound wedge here with that first waist to waist technique. And I'm going to go 1. I'm just going to keep going. And once I keep doing this, I'm trying to find the one that feels right, the strike, the tempo. That was a bit better. And what I'm already noticing is I'm pretty much on the nose of 30 yards. Are my hands going a little bit longer? A little bit longer? Maybe. Sometimes a bit short. But my intention is waist to waist. Okay? Just here to here. And every time I'm hitting a nice crisp shot, but I'm not trying to hit it a specific distance. And this is where the magic comes in. Now what we do is basically take our dispersion, our distance, and find the average that I've been hitting the sand wedge at my first level swing. Now we progress to the next stage. I've switched it up to use my gap wedge for this example, but here is where we work on the second level. And for my best suggestion that I can give you is almost trying to just imagine that your arms are level here and level here. Momentum, a little bit extra is going to carry us on, but my intention, my feel is just from here to here. Trying to be as kind of robotic as possible. Doesn't mean I'm gripping it to death. My only task that I'm thinking about is getting my arm to here and to here. That is it. Now I'm going to strike several shots with that swing length in mind, with the same kind of tempo that I was feeling comfortable with the first level, I'm just going to go here to here. And I'm not trying to hit it any particular distance. What I'm doing is just trying to get good and reliable at that pace of swing, that length of swing. I keep repeating this. I keep doing it. I don't try and hit it a particular distance. I'm just trying to make nice contact and see that the average where it's landing. Every time they're landing like 75 yards. Easy peasy. But I keep refining it. I want you to hit dozens of golf balls just with that intention alone, and then see the distance and sort of create the average and mark that down. The next phase is almost a full swing, but it's still a pitching technique. A full swing would have me stand a little bit wider and a bit more committed to getting the hands a little bit higher, a little bit further away. What's comfortable for me and what I suggest for you is about shoulder height, okay? I'm feeling like my hands are getting to about here. And I know they're going to carry on a little bit because just of inertia, basically, and momentum. If I try and stop here, as I transition back, it's going to go a little bit longer. So it doesn't matter about the specifics, it's just what kind of stopping point do you have. And the reference from shoulder to shoulder is going to give me that control. And I have to ensure that I have the same optimal cadence that's correct for me, correct for you. Not too fast, not too slow, just right. Just like Goldilocks. She knew her porridge, and it applies to golf swings too. So I'm standing with the similar setup, like pitching. I've got a little more weight forward. I've got actually a pitching wedge here. You can use this from lob wedge all the way through to pitching wedge. I'm just using it for demonstration purposes. But again, I'm not trying to pick a specific distance that I'm trying to hit this club. I'm just doing the task of arm, shoulder to shoulder with this club, and I'm going to see what kind of distances come out of it. So, a little bit quick there, but not too bad. And that's landing 116 yards. Not the best, it's a bit right. It's almost a full swing, but really not. It's a nice controlled pitching action. So, the reason why this works so well is because I'm controlling what I can control. All of those landed kind of similar to each other, but I want you to discover what your yardages are. Now I'm going to show you the formula that is going to transform your game. Your homework is to take your wedges and to execute every single length of swing with every single wedge you have, from lob wedge, perhaps all the way through to pitching wedge. And what you do is write down your distances that you achieved with every single club. Pitching wedge, even though you might not normally do it, you can just do the first initial step, so waist to waist. That's going to give you a different option when you're on the golf course to just run it up lower, but you'll know how far that is. So when you're on the golf course, you don't have to guess as much about what club to hit, how far it is. If you have a laser or whatever it might be to know your distance, all you do is pick the club and the swing that corresponds the nearest with that distance. It doesn't matter if it's 3-4 yards too long, 5 yards too short. It does not matter, because I promise you, when you just execute the task that you have for the swing length and the club you've chosen, it will go very near the perfect distance every single time. And if you've got 3 wedges, 4 wedges, you've got 9, 12 different distances to choose from. It's an amazing weapon. It's very simple, and I know you can apply this to your game. So now you're going to be hitting it closer to the pin from 100 odd yards and in. You want to hold those putts. Check out this lesson. It's going to give you the confidence to read greens and make sure you hold those little sneaky ones too. See you next time.